Hi, everybody. It's Jared Degnan, and you are listening to Human Factors Tech. Listen, before we get into the first episode of this new season, I want to talk about the overall thematic for what this season is going to be all about. To be honest with you, I hit a wall in the last 6 months. Personally, professionally, just completely burned out, but that wasn't the only thing. I was grappling with what it meant to be a high-performing individual in technology, particularly at this moment in time. So not only was I trying to deal with all of the socio-political economic realities that are going on in the world right now, I was really facing down what I would call a crisis of authenticity. More and more of my work became reliant on AI, and though there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, a couple of times I got some comments, including one comment from a coworker that really just stopped me dead in my tracks. She basically said that she likes the live me more than who I was showing up as on Teams and in emails. And, fair enough. I said, we all pick our words more carefully in written communications, but what I realized was that it had started to bleed back in to who I am and who I was in real life. I was second guessing myself. I was second guessing who I was. And what I realized after talking to some folks is that this is really endemic of high performing individuals. We all want to do well. We all want to help move our teams and our organizations forward. And AI is undisputably a great tool to multiply our efforts. If you're not using it right now, you should be. When it starts to take us off the path of who we are and why we got into this in the first place, though, that's where the problem starts. Particularly when you're in a change agent role, that authenticity, that humor, that personality is what helps you deal with a lot of the challenges that are thrown your way. When people push back, when you have to square the emotional responses with political realities, with the demands on your performance, it can sometimes feel like you're more of a human shock absorber than what you really are, which is a highly experienced professional. So this season is all about how we get back to being human while developing great tech. Let me say that again. This season is all about how we get back to being human while developing great tech. So what I'm looking at this season are the stories of why we got into these roles, how we're navigating some of the toughest challenges in tech, not just from a systems or an integrations perspective, but how tech can help us help leave the world a little bit better than we found it. Now, that sounds aspirational, but that's kind of why we do podcasts. We have a point of view. We want to say something, and this is my way of doing that. And I am so excited for it, and I am really excited to have you on the journey with us. So, with that being said, welcome to Human Factors Tech. This is Season 2. I'm Jared Degnan. Let's get started.
You're listening to Human Factors Tech, the show that dives beneath the surface of enterprise transformation. Hosted by Jared Degnan, each episode explores the hidden drivers behind real change, not just the how, but the why. Because in the world of big systems and bigger stakes, it's not just about the tech, it's about the people who make it work. This is Human Factors Tech.
Welcome back, everybody. Again, this is Human Factors Tech, Season 2, Episode 1. I'm Jared Degnan, as you have probably heard at least 3 times now between the intro and the music and whatever else. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Human Factors Tech is the podcast that explores all things technology through the lens of the human condition. I'm really excited to have you here. I'm a professional living in Atlanta, and I've worked in consulting roles and growth leader roles for over 20 years now. And this podcast is really a labor of love for me. It's about helping to explore the why behind all the things that we do in tech. And I could not be more excited to have this second season. And I will explain that, it always was my intention to take a break between seasons, to do maybe about 10 to 12 episodes of really good interviews, then take a break and then do 10 or 12 more. And that certainly was the case. I had arguably some really good interviews last year. We talked to the Atlanta Track Club. We talked to some startups, including Slate Safety, and talked about some human factors around, worker safety and heuristics and a lot of different things. We even talked about some really cool ChatGPT technology around creating live personas, which was really exciting. This season, we're really doubling down on those interviews, though. So that kind of brings me to my first really exciting announcement. So I did a little bit of rebranding over the last couple of weeks and months, and this is really to kind of bring us more in line with the overall thematic of the second season and the show itself. I had mentioned in the cold open that this is really something that came out of a lot of deep introspection on my end. And I'm very excited to kind of double down on, what it means to be human in high performing tech roles, talk to some folks. I have some great interviews coming up. I've got one in the can from Mike Chichula, who is the CIO of Propelled Brands. So we're going to publish that episode probably next week. But this week we are talking about Atlanta Tech Week. And I'll explain a little bit more about why I went to Atlanta Tech Week and what we're going to be talking about in just a second. The more important fact is giveaways. So guests of the celebrity Ding Dang Dong, otherwise known as Human Factors Tech, will receive a mug. It is so cute. Okay, so I actually have two different mugs. I have this one right here, which is kind of a cool... it is kind of a two-tone mug, which is really adorable. I love it, but it's got the printed logo on it. And then I actually have one that has I don't know if you can see that it's actually etched in there. There's actually some dimension to it, which is kind of cool. This is, again, two tones. It's reverse. It's a little chunkier, a little bit more, better for, soup. But these are both really awesome mugs. I use them myself. In fact, those are the clean ones. I'm actually drinking from my own Human Factors coffee cup right now. But this is just as a thank you. As I talk to people, they spend their time and they share their passions with me. I thought it would be cool to give them something in return. So, Mike, if you're listening to this episode, I need to make sure that I get your address so I can send you one of these fabulous mugs. So, I do want you guys, if you have a story to tell about why you got into tech, please email me at hello@humanfactorstech.com. That's hello@humanfactorstech.com. You can also DM me on Instagram or through YouTube, and we'll get you on the show. I've got some very exciting conversations going on right now. As you'll meet one of the interview subjects this week, a Google AI ethicist who I want to have a follow-up with, and she was just absolutely fabulous. So let's talk a little bit about Atlanta Tech Week. So Atlanta Tech Week and Render ATL are, Atlanta's version of kind of I wouldn't even say it's a startup conference, but it's everything coding, AI, exciting talk about startups, and it's great for basically anybody who is interested in the tech scene. Now, I will mention that as a human factors specialist in tech, it was a little coding heavy, but it was really exciting for me to attend, if only because it was a fantastic return to some of my roots. When I first got started in tech, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we used to go to these conferences. First, I was doing it in Nashville with the Nashville Tech Geeks, and then I moved back to DC, and I think I did Product Camp there, and then I moved back to Atlanta, I did Product Camp here, and there's just something about community, there's something about kind of immersing yourself that's really, really fun and exciting, and just, it's again, it goes back to the why of what we do this. And so what was interesting here is that I went out and I was hoping to get some interviews with some of the vendors, but I actually found that the interviews with the participants were more interesting. And so what I have for you today is a selection of 3 interviews that I did during Atlanta Tech Week and Render ATL. And this ranges from individual content creators to, again, a Google AI ethicist, and even somebody who is a product manager for Disney, all talking about the why behind what they're doing. And that to me is just, it's why we get up in the morning. If you've ever done the exercise, Simon Sinek's Golden Circle, and the why of what you do, if you've never done that before, please do it. I'll leave a link in the show notes because it's really, really exciting. But to be immersed in how excited these folks are to be in tech and to explore this brave new horizon that we've got going on with AI and coding and these careers. It's really, really fantastic. The other thing that I wanted to mention is there was a great conversation with one of the leaders from Figma, and one of the conversations occurred is, AI is going to replace all of our jobs, or so says the conventional wisdom. The fact of the matter is, and this I heard from multiple people, is that that's not the case. This is the time to get in on AI. This is the time to level up your skills. This is the time to really think about what is it that you do well and how can AI multiply your impact. So for instance, one of the things that I do on a regular basis is create opportunity briefs. So I meet with clients, I talk to them about their growth and their cost optimization strategy, and I have to bring together a team to solution these technology things, people, process, technology. It's the typical consulting deal. But what's interesting about this is that it takes a lot of time to do those opportunity briefs. What I have found, though, is using AI to help create those briefs not only helps me get those materials together faster, but it provides a leg up for the teams that I work with, and it increases the level of trust that those teams have in me because I don't leave out any details. But that's an example of some of the conversations that I had during this conference, and it was just inspiring to hear how people are really dealing with this new AI horizon. And, I think everybody's going to be talking about AI, and, certainly every single person at that show was talking about AI and what it was doing for their careers. But I do want you to kind of tune in and listen to what's going on with some of these folks because it's really inspiring. And I had a great time at the conference. Some really cool stats that they sent me afterwards. And thank you, Daniela from the Render team, for sending those over to me. There were 8,000 participants at Render ATL, which was the 3-day conference that ended ATL Tech Week. Overall, ATL Tech Week had 15,000 people in attendance across 215 events, and it pumped more than $55 million back into the Atlanta community through registrations, through vendor revenue, et cetera. And I just think that's totally cool. And of course, they had it down at the America's Mart, which if you've ever been in Atlanta, the America's Mart is kind of like the central hub for commerce in the South. And it's just a great space, and it was a lot of fun. And, I just can't speak highly enough about it. If you get a chance to go to these events, whether you're tech or not, do so, because you get to explore a whole new world in what you might know and what you might not know. So with that being said, I'm going to throw it over to myself to do a quick intro into Atlanta Tech Week. And I hope you enjoy these interviews because I was really I had a great time with it. So again, thanks for listening to Human Factors Tech, and let's go straight to the interviews. All right, I have just met
Savneet Singh.
Okay, so you were just talking to me about your day job, which is
At Google. I work for a trust and safety team at Google.
okay, but you're also a professor, right?
Yes, I teach at Emory. I teach responsible AI at Emory University. Yeah.
Okay, so almost everything at Tech Week, almost everything at Render ATL has been about AI. But yours is really, really interesting.
Yes, it goes a level deeper, and we think about, or I teach, or I create awareness about how to get it right? So I see that as a beast, AI as a beast, or you might have watched the movie, right? The dragon movie. You have to tame that dragon, ending right now, right? Like I said, the dragon, right? It takes a village, right? I want this to be, or I see this and vision this as a multidisciplinary, socio-technical, political kind of solution to make it responsible, to make it trustworthy, to make it human-centered. So that's my key vision, to make it human-centered. And technology companies are doing what they could in terms of having guardrails. I guess we need a little bit more governance, more policies, and they come top to bottom. That's what I envision. Government plays an important role. Some of the countries are doing good job. Some of the countries are catching up on those guardrails and all of those policies. So that's how I see it will just align. Just to think about the medical ethics, right? How we as
So I'm here at Render ATL with
X13.
Awesome. So what brought you to Render ATL this year?
I'm with the Hidden Genius project today, and I'm just came here to check out and network and see what new things I can find.
Great. So we're all about understanding the why behind the tech. What's your why? What do you hope to do? What do you hope to take tech to that helps you, helps your community, helps you around the world?
Well, with the Hidden Genius, I'm teaching them, so I'm giving back to the community to learn, helping them know more about tech and web development and app development, things like that. But as far as my own business, X13 Pro, we focus on car interiors, and what we're doing and how we're implementing tech in that is creating an app that will actually help you preview the interior modification part inside of that app without even purchasing it. So you get to see it before you purchase it, and then when you purchase it, you're like, oh wow, this is exactly what I needed. So that's how we're doing that.
So what's the human problem this is solving? So there's a lot of tech like that out there. There's a lot of podcasts like that out there. Why is yours different?
So mine's different because, well, one, me personally, I'm really into cars. I am a content creator on YouTube at X13, and how I'm doing that with cars is I've realized that there's not a lot of interior modifications in cars. So we're implementing tech in that and also bringing more modifications to the interior. So you feel good on the outside and on the inside as well.
So what's your coolest mod that you've seen?
The coolest one, we don't have it right now, but it's work in progress, excuse me. And what it is a steering wheel with LED lights on it, so you can see the RPMs go up as you accelerate.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that particular use case.
Okay.
Is that just cool, or does it actually serve a function?
So one, it serves a function because when you go have too many RPMs, then the limit will start buffering. So you'll start to see a whole bunch of red on your steering wheel, and it'll let you know that you're going too fast. It is also really cool because you don't really see steering wheels with LED lights, and then it provides a different aesthetic, so it makes you feel cool too.
Nice. So what's one thing you wish more leaders or decision makers understood about building tech that works for everybody?
I would say to understand and learn more about their community so they can provide more things that the community needs that will just help everybody in general, so we can all just grow and strive and be better.
Okay. So what do you think one of those barriers is?
As far as...
So talk to me about, in your own personal tech journey, what are some of the things that you had to navigate that you're helping to build things going forward?
Really just learning tech. At first, I wasn't really into it.
Okay.
Because around, I'd say 2020, it was more of a coding thing. It was kind of new back then. And I didn't really like coding. And then I joined the program, the Hidden Genius project, and I was like, I actually kind of like this. So I got into it. So I think as far as that, we need to have more opportunities to learn about code and learn how much code we use without even knowing, for real.
Nice.
So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Have a great time at
You too. Thank you.
All right, let's go. Yeah, so the better version of this is actually the X4. Sorry, this is the X4. The better one is the X5. It actually does better with low light. I've got this recording at 4K right now, so we'll see how the low light actually comes out once I process it. Okay, so Darren, what brings you to Render ATL?
Hey, so I was actually a speaker this year. It's my first year attending. Got to speak on the revolution of digital media. Basically, where is media today and where is it going next? So pretty cool stuff. Great crowd, cool community here at Render. But yeah, it's my first time here. Very
So,
welcome. Yeah.
so I got a chance to sit in on your session, and there was a really interesting stat that you had. You said, what is it? Most, if not all, content is going to be created by AI by 2030.
Yeah, 90% of all content that we see digitally
Uh,
by 2030 will be AI generated. And that's only 4.5 years away. So
That
that's
is
probably
scary.
Yeah. And the just to double down on it, the second set I mentioned is that the big tech companies have invested over $320 billion into AI infrastructure.
Yeah.
That means that they're going to continue to build into AI, right? So I think not the writing's on the wall, but there's a clear direction to grow ahead as an industry as a whole, outside of media, and also when you zoom in for media as well.
Okay, so you're with some guys who are all part of a podcast network, right?
Yes. So we are the hosts of the Social Currency series.
Okay.
So
So tell me about that.
We talk about technology, we talk about venture, and we talk about entertainment. When I say venture, I mean venture capital. So who's
Okay.
getting funded? What rounds? It could be a small company that's raised $1 million, or it could have raised $100 million. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the latest tech trends. So, like, again, $320 billion AI infrastructure investment. We'll talk about entertainment too. We're not trying to put folks to sleep. It's dense and complex topics, but we added a little bit of light. But yeah, I have my two co-hosts that talk about everything. They're also founders in the space as well.
Great.
Yeah.
So obviously there are a lot of creators here, whether they are content creators or code creators. With this rise of AI, it is really easy to fake it. So talk to me about aspiring content creators. What do they need to do to keep themselves authentic in content creation as the rise of AI occurs?
I'll leave that. So I asked the question to the audience earlier when I was coming in. I said, I can't tell you what to watch. So I think that's true. I can't tell you how to be online. I can't tell you what to watch. I think folks will know if folks aren't being authentic. I think there will be a lot more loopholes based off the tools available to folks. And I think it'll take a longer time to realize that, oh my gosh, this person's completely fake online. Or, oh my gosh, I was watching a deep fake this entire time. Like, I don't think you'll know. I think it'll take a while for folks to basically sort through the mess.
Yeah. I saw a video the other day about a lawyer who tried to appear online in front of a judge. So you see that video?
Yeah, it was a couple months back.
Yeah, that was a little bit crazy. But I mean, so you're saying basically your people are going to vote with their feet. They're going to vote with their eyeballs.
Yeah. And then you'll you figure it out.
Great.
It's wait and see approach.
Darren, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, so let's wrap things up. First of all, I want to thank Emmanuel from the Hidden Genius Project and Power X13. I want to thank Savneet from Google AI, and I want to thank Darren from Disney for letting me, pick their brains about their journey in tech. It's so cool to meet people like these folks. I do want to mention one thing about Emmanuel and the Hidden Genius Project. There were just dozens and dozens of these guys swarming Render ATL. And I looked them up, got to know a little bit more about the project. And what it does is it trains and mentors Black male youth in technology creation. It's such a cool organization, such a cool program. Please check them out. I will put a link in the show notes, but you can find them at hiddengeniusproject.org. I will also mention, I apologize for the quality of some of the video. Honestly, part of being a human and part of being a high-performing tech professional is admitting to the things that you are good at and the things that you might not be good at. As you can see, I am not the best videographer in the world. I am much more of an audio person, but at the same time, this is the medium that we're in. I have to be on YouTube. I have to have some clips to put on LinkedIn, so I am in the process of getting a better camera, though, for low light conditions, because when you use a regular camera in regular light, you're fine. But if you're trying to use a 360-degree camera in low light conditions, particularly when you're using the Instas 360 X4, which is more of an adventure camera than the X5, which I need to upgrade to, things tend to get a little bit more crazy. And to loop that back in to human factors, by the way, one of the reasons why I use a 360 camera is because I acknowledge the fact that I'm not the best videographer in the entire world, and I know I don't always get the best shot. The 360-degree camera makes sure that I am relatively safe no matter what my alignment is. So wrapping things up for this week, I just had the best time at Render ATL. Even if I was only able to go for 1 or 2 days, the fact of the matter was that it's so cool to see everybody so excited about technology and peer learning and just getting involved in the community, and to see the tech industry in Atlanta show up like this for ATL Tech Week. It's just amazing. So let me wrap up by reminding everybody that if you would like to be on the show and tell your story, please email me at hello@humanfactorstech.com. That's hello@humanfactorstech.com. And to remind you that if you do, I might just send you one of these awesome mugs. Your choice. You can either have the black one or you can have the gray one. Sorry about that. But, thank you again for tuning in. I'm really excited. Next week, we're going to have a conversation with Mike Tuchula, who is the CIO of Propelled Brands, talking to him about his career in enterprise development, talking about change management as it exists in large federated technology environments, and in particular, how enterprise level technology has to work with lots of different layers of stakeholders. It is a great conversation. I'm so excited. If it wasn't as good as it was, I would have saved it for the first episode, but because I was so excited about what was going on at Atlanta Tech Week, I thought it was more relevant to get this episode out now. Anyway, again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited for this season. Please reach out to me with comments, concerns, questions. Please argue with me if you hear something on the podcast that you're like, hey, I disagree with that. Please, please, please email me, let me know what's going on, because this is a dialogue. And I think that, we need more dialogue, not only between professionals, but just between us as humans. So again, so excited for season 2. I hope you'll come with me. Thank you again for tuning in. I'm Jared Degnan. Stay human.
Thanks for listening to Human Factors Tech. If this conversation resonated with you, please follow, share, and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. And for more stories on the people powering enterprise transformation, visit humanfactorstech.com.